of NDTV Profit exclusives. Frankly, I mean, it's raining exclusives today on NDTV Profit. And to talk about another big one coming in, the Finance Ministry has received the Oil Ministry's request on scrapping windfall tax. My colleague Shrimi Chaudhary joins in with more details. Yes, Shrimi.
So what we are picking up from the top sources in Finance Ministry is that, they have received this request from Petroleum Ministry on scrapping the windfall taxes, which has been levied on export of petrol, diesel and aviation turbine fuel. So what is happening here is that Finance Ministry said that we are evaluating the request, because the global crude prices is being stable for some time. But there is no decision has been taken yet on the idea. In fact, they are also contemplating whether to keep a provision, in a way that it should be zero and not scrapping it fully. There are also talks on, whether to bring natural gas under the ambit of, GST. What the sources is also telling us is that the Petroleum Ministry also pitching to, make this inclusion in the GST purview, which they are also, looking at, and it may be the part of GST Council meeting agenda, which is slated for, December 21st. Remember, when the GST was introduced, it was explicitly, mentioned in the regime that GST Council shall recommend the date on which the GST shall be levied on the petroleum, crude or high-speed diesel, motor, spirit, etc. But any call needs to be taken by GST Council as far as, the date of taxation is concerned. So we are getting hint that it could be the part of the upcoming GST Council agenda as far as, bringing these petroleum products in the GST ambit. On the windfall tax, they are still evaluating and no decision has been taken yet.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Shrimi. And, it makes sense because the question is that are these companies going to see huge windfall gains? So how does this development impact the listed players in this space? Mihika joining in for more perspective on that. Of course, she tracks the sector closely. Yes, Mihika?
Yeah, thank you for that, Tamanna. You actually saw some uptick in the oil exploration company, that's Reliance and ONGC, intraday high of over 2%. Now, the potential scrapping of windfall taxes is positive for these companies because it means higher revenue realizations. So what windfall taxes basically are, they are a type of taxation that is imposed by the government that limits the revenues that oil companies can get by selling a barrel of oil during periods of high oil prices. Currently, the value is zero, but when prices it gets triggered around when prices sustain higher the $75 per barrel mark, and windfall, the scrapping of this would thereby increase their realizations even if the crude prices do go above $75 per barrel. The second point that Shrimi talked about is inclusion of natural gas under the GST regime. It's been a talking point for a long time now. We've seen gas companies gaining in trade today. Adani Total Gas are intraday high of 7.2%. Gujarat State Petronet intraday high of almost 2%. GAIL India and Gujarat Gas also seeing an uptick of over 1%. Now, when you talk about what the benefits for the gas companies are, well, it benefits the entire gas value chain from lower tax rates. Morgan Stanley says that the key upside is faster adoption of gas, and they expect Gujarat Gas to benefit from volume upside. It could also lead to higher gas consumptions and lower import costs for LNG, which would benefit companies like GAIL India and Petronet LNG. And lastly, Morgan Stanley, in their note, they had also stated that oil exploration and production companies could also be the biggest beneficiaries. And like I mentioned in the start, ONGC and Reliance Industries are also up in trade today.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Shrimi and Mihika. Kunal Shah and G. Chokalingam with us. I'm just wondering, Choka, how are you looking at the whole oil and gas pack? Because so many things in play here. Frankly, crude prices have not moved too much despite wars raging on. OPEC Plus has even postponed its production schedule meet to December 5th. But is there anything that you want to look at very closely? A BPCL, for example, has been a favored play. So has HPCL. How do you see an ONGC?
Oil marketing companies, the performance is extremely volatile, very difficult to predict. You have seen it in some of these refinery companies for September quarter. As far as upstream companies as far as the oil producers are concerned, I'm not overly bullish on that particular theme because despite you having war in Ukraine for more than 2 years, oil price is still down about 20% from 52-week high. And again, though there is a lot of disturbance in the Middle East, the oil price has not gone nowhere. Even on a monthly basis, it's almost down 12-15% from a 1 month high. So my point is that if this ceasefire is successful, definitely there is a possibility of oil price falling very badly, which will favor Indian economy and markets, but it may not favor oil producers. So therefore, I would not play oil as a theme.
Okay. Kunal, on the charts, any of the pack that you like?
Yeah, I think if you look at over here, I think GAIL is something which is looking positive to me. At the current levels, we can at least see a decent pullback towards the 200 DMA. So I can expect levels of 210 on the upside.